Weathering the financial impact of the COVID-19 pandemic is a very real concern for parishes and dioceses across the country as they face a decline in collections. Joining me now on Skype to talk more about this and possible solutions is Josh Holdenried, Vice President and Executive Director of Napa Legal Institute, which provides non-litigation legal counsel to Catholic nonprofits. Josh, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, Tracy. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Josh, can you talk about the economic strain the COVID-19 pandemic is putting on churches in this country and just how big of an issue it is?
Absolutely, Tracy. It's a huge issue. As you may know, 9,000 Catholic parishes have applied and received loans through the Paycheck Protection Program. So again, this program issued by the Small Business Administration is designed to basically help small businesses and nonprofits basically maintain and keep payroll. So a lot of these parishes were eligible and applied because they wanted to keep their parish staff on payroll just in the same way that small businesses had to do the same thing.
As you just mentioned, the parishes applied for payroll loans through the Payroll Protection Program. Can you talk a little bit more about that loan program, the loans themselves? And is it something that maybe all churches can utilize for temporary financial assistance?
Absolutely. So the loan was initially put together right when the CARES Act was passed by Congress. And once those loans were available, basically, again, designed to help businesses and nonprofits maintain payroll, the loans were depleted immediately because people were so in such economic, basically, uncertainty and needing to fund their payroll so they can keep staff on payroll. So to that end, basically, nonprofits were also eligible, including religious nonprofits. And the thing about religious nonprofits is they had to basically exercise the virtue of prudence to decide whether applying for federal loans would basically impact the integrity of their religious missions. Because if you apply for these loans, there's certainly strings attached, one of them being that you're subject to broad non-discrimination regulations by the SBA, meaning that basically, there's an element of federal oversight if you accept the loans, especially through the duration of the loan when it is active. So again, that could be of concern to a lot of parishes and faith-based nonprofits. Is that, well, if we accept these loans, does that mean that we're going to be subject to things like religious liberty concerns that might impact our religious mission? And again, to that end, one thing that should be noted is recently the Treasury Department issued a guidance that said that anyone, small businesses, nonprofits who applied for these Paycheck Protection Program loans might be subject to a government audit. So again, there's certain things that parishes and faith-based nonprofits need to consider when they're taking on loans like this. And again, a lot of these parishes, those 9,000 Catholic parishes that accepted those loans, they need to ask themselves, are they ready for a government audit if it comes? And what should they do to make sure that they shore up their organizations in order to be prepared for compliance standards?
Josh, what are some of the other options that may be available for churches and other faith-based organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, not all aid needs to come from the federal government. Actually, there are several foundations and local community grant makers that are stepping up to the plate to basically help Catholic parishes, help faith-based nonprofits, help nonprofits in general to be funded so that they don't have to have those be subject to the regulations of the federal government. So again, actually, there's a couple of websites that we've been advising people to visit, such as philanthropyroundtable.org, candid.org, and these organizations have a list of foundations that are basically stepping up and saying that they're going to help fund organizations who need SNAP grants and things to help keep them afloat in order so that they don't have to basically rely on the federal government.
Well, Josh, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tracy. It was a pleasure.